Hi, I'm Rich Flores. Been doing record mastering since 1972. I had an opportunity to meet the Misfits when I was living in Brooklyn and had the mastering facility located in Brooklyn, known as Spectrum Sound. And Glenn Danzig of the Misfits, I cut their first 45 master, which happens to be this one, which was on Blank Records. This is their very first 45 RPM. He only made like 500 copies of this. I instructed them to go to Roma Bar Pressing in Brooklyn, and they never reissued this. And this is the original cover, by the way. The way you could tell this from a reissue is you have to look at the lock groove, and I had inscribed on the lacquer R. Flores, that's my name, and all the copies have that. This was their very first 45 RPM of Cool. When Glenn came to me, he found me in the phone book, right? So he wanted to do a pressing of 500 copies or 1,000. So I said, Glenn, okay, listen, the first thing we're gonna start with, you bring me your tape from the studio, we're gonna cut the 45 onto a 12-inch disc like this. We're gonna do two sides, one B side, one A side. We need two separate discs, not one. Then that gets sent over to the electroplating plant where they make your metal stampers. They'll tell you the price. If you wanna have only 500 copies, you do what they call a strike-off. If you want to have more than 1,000 copies, you would need at least a stamper mother made from that same metal part. And then after that, if the stamper breaks down during the pressing plant, you can always have another metal parts made, and you don't have to come back to me to recut the whole thing from scratch. So we did the equalization. We cut his, we did a test cut on the outside diameter. We played it back. He was satisfied with it, and we did the actual 45 diameter gets cut on a 12-inch disc. Send it out to the plating plant. I gave him the name and the address of Roma Bar Pressing Plant in Brooklyn, which no longer exists today, and he had only 500 copies made because of budget reasons. I guess he wasn't intending Cool to become, more of a multi-million-dollar record. It just was just a strike-off for records to hand out to his friends and the record producers. The question about bootlegs, okay. Over the years, Cool became such a cult thing with the Misfits that today, if you happen to find this one in this original label, like this one on eBay would go for like $2,000. Because they're so scarce, it's only 500 copies where this was made. I should have gotten more copies from Glenn, but that's another issue. The reissues look like this. What they did was, they played the original on a phonograph record, transferred it to MP3, and cut it over, and made a recut, and they look like this. Blank label, God knows who cut this. 45 on a small hole. Yeah. If you played this on a jukebox, it'll play at 33 1/3, and you won't have the right speed. So this was supposed to be large hole. So these are what they're throwing out as what you call a bootleg, but a reissue. They sell them on eBay for like $7, $6, and they print them on the same lithograph as the old one, but all it is a copy. And the way they copied is, like I said, they played the original on a turntable and took that audio content and remastered it on another lacquer and pressed these 7-inch. So basically, that's how you can spot them. But nobody went to the extreme of doing the exact label, because then it'll be piracy or counterfeiting. See? He might have, but I know he didn't put these reissues because if Glenn was to put reissues, he would have put all the information on the label. So if he's the owner and copyright holder, then why should he do something like this? So yeah, the reissues would have his name and possibly might even look like the original label, which would be the black and white label of Blank Records. Since 1977, I haven't talked to him. He came to me for the cutting of Bullet, which I did, and Horror Business. What happened to Horror Business, it was his last cut that I did for him. The electroplating plant in California messed up the lacquers, so he had it recut out there in California. But basically, I did all three: Horror Business, Cool, and Bullet 138. And after that, I think since 1977, I hadn't had a chance to see him again or talk to him.